those areas, in those schools, and attained the requisite marks were denied an opportunity. For example, there is a child from the Goto area who got 71 out of 72 marks. Alliance High School is just a few meters from the Goto. That child had asked to be placed in Alliance High School, and the cluster was right. That child was denied an opportunity. Yet some children from other areas with as low as 50 marks have been admitted to those institutions. That is what we are saying is unfair. It cannot be, you know. This placement must be based on merit for all the children of Kenya. And I am saying it's unfair to deny a child an opportunity to go to a school of his or her choice with very high marks and give that opportunity to another child with very low marks. That I'm saying is unfair, it's uncalled for. Let me also say this, because it's important. Let leaders from northern Kenya not lecture us about affirmative action. Devolution has been in place since 2013. And leaders from those regions deliberately have refused to develop institutions. Yet they want their children to enjoy the facilities of institutions that have been put by other leaders in other counties. Since 2013, Wajir County has received 99.6 billion Kenya shillings. Marsabit County has received 76.83 billion. Garissa County has received 81.7 billion shillings. Mandera County has received 119 Kenya billion shillings. They have the opportunity to develop institutions of the highest standards possible in Kenya. Not just for the children of those areas, but for the children of Kenya. I traveled as deputy president to those areas, and I don't see any institutions, despite the massive funding that taxpayers have channeled to those counties. Yet in counties that have received less money, in Western Kenya, in Rift Valley, here in the mountain, when you go around, you see beautiful institutions. I want to say that we need to have a national conversation about zoning of placement. This was okay then because some areas were marginalized. But these areas have received massive funding from the Equalization Fund. They have received massive funds from the National Kitty. CDF funds are shared equally among the 290 constituencies. Yet when you go to these areas where the leaders are making a lot of noise, there is nothing on the ground. In fact, when I was deputy president, I was shocked that these leaders from northern Kenya don't live there and they don't work there. Anytime I had a trip to Garissa, to Mandera, to Wajir, the leaders of those regions would demand that I make space available for them on my aircraft. I would go with them and come back with them. And I never saw any institutions there, despite the fact that billions of shillings have been given to those areas. So we are saying we need a national conversation to ask. Devolution was supposed to bring equity. Equitable allocation of CDA funds was meant to bring equity. 13 years down the line, is there really any county that requires affirmative action anymore? We need to have that conversation. For how long are we going to have affirmative action? Because devolution was meant to address the inequality and the marginalization of certain regions. So in conclusion, I want to say that we are demanding that all children of Kenya be admitted to the best schools on merit. And I'm not saying children from this area or any other area who are not qualified or who have not met the minimum points that are required should be admitted to these great institutions. I am saying, and parents have asked me to say so, that all children of Kenya should be given an opportunity on merit. Finally, I want to say that we used to have a very good system of placement of our kids into secondary schools. Principals would gather at the Kenya Science Teachers College, and they are given all the pupils who apply to go to those institutions. Then a committee would agree on the cutoff point, and the principals would make the choices and place the children accordingly. This is no longer the case. The placement of our children has been centralized at Jogoo House, which has brought in corruption, because the bureaucrats sitting at Jogoo House have no capacity to know how to place kids. That is why we have a crisis where kids have been placed in a day school 300 kilometers away from their homes. How do people expect these children to go about their lives? If it's a girl aged 13 years and she has been placed in a school 200-300 kilometers away from home, the parents would have to go and get a house, a rented room for that girl and leave her there. Again, the parents would spend a lot of money. So we have a crisis, we have a mess. I heard William Ruto saying that it has been done very well. He doesn't live in this country anymore. He should know and hear the outcry of parents. Parents are spending thousands of shillings trying to take their children far away from home to day schools, look for accommodation, look how they'll be eating, how they'll be cooking. It's a crisis of unknown magnitude. We are saying that it is not right to admit any child to a day school outside a walking distance. And when the principals were doing it, it was done properly because the principals know the catchment area of the secondary school, and then they will do 3, 4, 5 kilometers only. But we have a situation where kids in Machakos have been admitted in a day school in Kericho. How does that child survive? This is not right. This is unnecessary. And finally, let me say, some people are saying that I shouldn't speak for people of this region. First and foremost, I come from this region. Ordinarily, as a national leader, I should have been speaking on most issues. But why I speak is because all the elected members of parliament and senators from the Mount Kenya region were bought by William Ruto, and they no longer speak for the people. They hear no evil, they see no evil. Therefore, somebody must speak. And I must say, though I was removed from office, I'm an elected leader. I was elected by the people of Kenya. And none of those people who elected me removed me from office. And since there is nobody to speak for these people, somebody must speak for them. So regarding Gachagua will continue speaking first and foremost for the people of Kenya. Secondly, he will speak for the people of this region because the people of this region have been abandoned by their elected representatives on the instructions of William Ruto, and they no longer speak for the people. When we are having this crisis, kids cannot go to school. Kids have been taken to schools far away from home. Kids with very high marks have been taken to schools with no infrastructure at all, despite the fact that their parents contributed money to put up beautiful institutions. Members of parliament, members of senate are quiet. That is not acceptable. I must speak to this issue. That is why, like here in Nyeri, when I came last night, people around Kiganjo, around Kericho, and business people have come to see me because they have information that Kiganjo Police College that was developed by the colonialists want to be relocated to Baringo and West Pokot by Murkomen and William Ruto. And that means the people who have been supplying foodstuffs, who have been supplying other essentials to that college will be rendered out of business. Yet the MPs from this region are quiet. The senator is quiet. Somebody must speak for the people of Nyeri. And that does not make me tribal. I'm just a responsible leader. And I want to say nobody will intimidate Rigathi Gachagua from speaking for people who elected him and who trust him and who depend on him to speak for them. And anytime I speak for the people of this region, I am called a tribalist. Yet when leaders speak on behalf of the people of Western Kenya, nobody calls them tribalists. I have seen the people of Northeastern Kenya. Anytime one of their person is touched, the whole community is up in arms. Nobody calls them tribal. Yet when I speak for 150,000 rice farmers in Moya, I'm called tribal. I want to say that I will not be cowed, I will not be intimidated. Anybody can call me whatever you want to call me. I must continue to speak for the people. And as you know, the slogan of my party is listening to the ground. I only speak for the people because they tell me to speak for them. This placement of grade 10 kids is a serious crisis, not just in this area. You know, people have called me from all over the country, thanking me for raising these issues. And I want to invite a national conversation around the issue of the quota system. Is it necessary anymore? After devolution for 13 years, after money has been allocated for equalization fund, after every constituency is given the same amount of money for CDF, do we still need the quota system? Is it not time that we said all national schools are available to all the children of Kenya on merit? We shouldn't have two standards, one for some areas and another standard for some other areas. Yet those areas that are being given low standards have received billions of Kenya shillings to upgrade institutions. So I want to tell the leaders from northeastern Kenya, please leave East Lee and South Sea and go to northern Kenya and develop institutions. You have serious money. All this money, what are you doing with this money? I've been to Garissa, I've been to Wajir, I've been to Madera, I've been to Marsabit. I don't see schools. I don't see any institutions. Yet, from the books, you have received billions of Kenya shillings. If the people of Wajir, the county government, decided out of the 99 billion they have received, put aside only 9 billion, at 3 billion per school, they would put up 3 great institutions in Wajir of the highest standard possible. Yet they have received 99 billion, there is nothing to show for it. So let the leaders from that area not cry about being profiled. They are not working. They have not spent their resources prudently. They should use the money that have been allocated to them to put up institutions like the rest of the country. And they should not intimidate the rest of us when we say that those institutions developed by our ancestors, by communities, should also benefit the children from those communities alongside other children from the people of Kenya. Thank you very much. Well, you know, ushonoka na kuigua uru ati atongoria itu ara twathurire marahuthirwo ni William Ruto kuhura andu ao, makaheo mbeca ni William Ruto, macarie nyanake iria itari wira macihuthire uru, macihe mbeca, moe mite ya macembe na mabanga makorage aciari ao, makahure andu ao. Ucio ni urimu na ni uhoro utari mwega. No ni ngwenda gucokeria andu a Nyeri town ngatho tondu maraugire matikwenda urimu na matigwitikiria maundu ta macio. Na andu a Nyeri town nio mene marabanga marahura mikoreo na maramaingata Nyeri. Noguo niguo gukwenda guikare. Na njiri atongoria acio mathurirwo marutire andu wira. Matiathurirwo marehe bara kuria mathuritwo. Matiathurirwo macaragie nyanake gucihe mbeca kuhura andu aria angi. Matiathurirwo magurire nyanake miti ya macembe ya kuhura andu aria angi. Handu aku magurira miti ya macembe ni mamateithiririe manjiririe mawira. Na ndeto icio ti njega. No hara tugikinyite ri andu nao ni magituite matua, andu marauga matikwenderio guoya na gutiri hindi magetikira andu moke mahure andu. Na njokeria andu a biacara ngatho na ndikimere ni pole tondu biacara ciao ni iracagagirio, no ndimere ni mararugamire wega, maranyitana andu a Nyeri town, andu wega, andu agima maragitira indo ciao, maragitira mucemanio na marauga matikwenda bara thiini wa Nyeri, na mitugo ti mitugo mega. Na no ngwenda kwira atongoria acio maririkane mathurirwo ni andu na matiathurirwo ni andu mamahurage kana mabangage bara. Mathurirwo ni andu mamaragiririe. Ta riu handu amaririe guku kiganjo turenda gutunyo borithi ni William Ruto na Mukomen yume guku ithie kundu kungi. Neno ni college yakirwo ni muthungu na ituraga hindi ya Kenyatta, hindi ya Moi, hindi ya Kibaki, hindi ya Uhuru, handu amaririe maundu ta macio marathie gucaria nyanake macihe miti ya macembe na mabanga moke mahure andu ao aciari ao aria nyina ni ndeto cia giconoka na ni ndeto itagirire.
So sir, please talk to us about the school placement now in Kuyu tondu kuri marina.
Ndirenda kuga ndeto ici cia cukuru ndiraririe ndeto ici ni ikwenda ciariririo tondu twina macukuru makirwo ni aciari aitu, macukuru migunda yaheanirwo ni mihiriga, macukuru mega, no ciana citu itiretĩkĩrio guthomera kou ona okorwo nicio ciina marks iria ciagĩrĩire muno, no ciana ingĩ ciina marks ciĩ thĩ muno igoka ikoya nafasi icio ciothe, ciana citu igatumwo cukuru cia ndĩ, igatumwo cukuru itare na maundu maria magĩrĩire na cukuru itathondeketwo wega. Maundu macio matiagĩrĩire na nitukwenda kuga nitukwenda twanjie kugĩa na mĩario kũrania atirĩrĩ, kai ciana ciothe itaiganaine, kai kuri wadana wa mugongo niki kiratuma mwana wa kundu kungi oyo na max 50 cukuru njega, cukuru nene, no mwana witu na max 70 akerura agithie cukuru yo nwathire cukuru ya ndĩ. Maundu macio ni ngwenda kuga ti maundu mega na ni ngumaririria na nie njuge ndikerwo ndigacoke kwaririria maundu maya ati ndaririria maundu maya ngerwo ndina ukabira. Nie gutire ukabira ndinaguo, ni ndeto cia manjaragia na gutetera andu na ndimatetagira tondu andu aria mathurirwo othe ni mamatiganirie, ni magurirwo ni William Ruto nda ciao magitiganiria andu ao, gutire mundu maragiriria. Koguo no nginya ndimariririe tondu nani ni mathurire, ona okorwo ndarutirwo obici ni guthuru ndathurirwo na andu acio mathurire ni tio marutire obici, no nginya thie na mbere na kumaririria na ndeto ici cia githomo ni tuguciaririria. Cukuru iria ciakirwo ni andu aitu ona ciana citu ona cio iheo nafasi ya guthoma cukuru icio, itige gutumwo cukuru cia kuraihu cia ndĩ, aciari magathinika makahuthira mbeca nyingi muno na cukuru ira makiri aciari ni maramiona haria makona ciana ingi igiuka itare na marks cia iguru magitonya cukuru icio na cio ciana citu no kwirora irerorera igatwarwo kundu kuraihu. Ndeto icio itiagirire na ndi ndeto tugukorwo tugiciaririria na nituguciaririria na njira nene muno. Andu a kuria North Eastern, Garissa, Wajir, Mandera nio maranegena muno makiuga ciana ciao no nginya ithomere guku ati ona cio ciana cia Kenya. Na kuma mwaka 2013 kwareho devolution mahetwo mabilioni ma mbeca no ni maregire gwaka macukuru matiakaga. Aheshimu acio maturaga Isiri na South gutari wira marutaga nikio kwao gutari kindu giakitwo, no ni mahetwo mbeca nyingi muno cia gwaka, mbeca icio makarere ingi makahuthira uru. No mbeca citu iria tuhuthirite wega na iria ciarutirwo ni aciari aitu igaka macukuru mega marenda guka ciana ciao ithomere macukuru macio na makaria uru muno makiuga no nginya ithomere kou na kwao no mahetwo mbeca nyingi muno makarega gwaka macukuru. Ni ngwenda tukorwo twina ndereti ya kuria atiriri ndeto icio cia kuga andu maigananio ri na andu ni maigananitio na kuheo mbeca ri makuigananio na njira iriku. Tukwenda andu acio make macukuru mao, ciana ciao ithomere kou, ona citu ciume ithomere kou uria ciao ithomagira guku. Ciana ciothe cia Kenya cigananio, no andu othe mahuthire mbeca wega gwako macukuru mega Kenya yothe, gutige gutuika macukuru maria mega mari guku gwitu. Andu aria angi namo mahetwo mbeca make macukuru mega makaria mbeca icio magacihuthira uru, no ni marenda ciana ciao cioka ithomere guku gwitu kia hinya. Ciana icio itire na mahijana tutingiciirega na tutingihura, no thina ni atongoria acio kurega kuhuthira mbeca gwaka macukuru mega kuria ciana ciao hamwe na ciana citu ingithomera. Ma principal marutaga wira mwega muno nginya igwire twathomaga. Tariu ni ndathomaga ndathurite cukuru wa Alliance National na Mangu, ngathura provincial Kianyaga, ngathura Kagumo na Nyeri Hai, ngiaga gukinyia marks cia guthii national, ngioya provincial Kianyaga. Uguo niguo wira arutaga na wari mwega muno na ma principal maya ni moi okorwo ni ukuoya mwana thie ndiri ukumuoya kuma itura ririku. No riu maundu maya matwarirwo Njogo na nikuo ungumania wihurite. Andu maroyo kuna computer na mahaki, ukona mwana atwaritwo cukuru ya ndĩ kilomita 200 kuma kwao mucii. Mwana ucio agwika ate aguthie nako ikubidi muciari wake amutware amukomborere nyumba na ringi ni mwana wa muiritu amutige kou nduka-ini thutha wa nduka. Riu mwana ucio no akorwo akiona mathina.